And so now we're sort of closing the circle today. We're going back to technology, and we're going to try and tackle within 60 minutes, quite ambitiously, a large topic, robotics and artificial intelligence. This is going to be the first of two sessions on robotics and artificial intelligence. This first session is going to cover sort of strategic thinking and give us some working tools and concepts to try and understand what and how AI fits into large organizations. Just for those who have signed up for the first time, Novia One Group or Novia One Training, we are an Africa-based private training provider, and we provide corporate training into financial services institutions, companies, healthcare companies, and many other industries. And we offer general courses in general management, accounting, and then quite specific financial markets, banking, digital disruption, fintech, platform businesses, and so on and so forth. And you can see, you can inform yourself about our offering on our website. Basically, our ethos is, and particularly now, we can't predict the future. We know that it's changing, and that's the only thing we're certain of. And so what or the purpose of our training is to make it as application focused as possible and to stay away from theory. We leverage off theory and we honor and leverage off people's experience, but really it's around developing an agile mindset, being innovative, and ensuring that we and our students and our clients, they leverage themselves into positions where they become future-proof. Okay, so normally in a good year, we have about 1,200 students a year. In a bad year as this one, we actually have double this if we include the unique attendees to our webinar sessions. So thank you very much for attending. Thank you for the support. We will send you feedback forms, and we're always interested in learning from you what your questions are. And we will build presentations and discussions and sessions around what your issues are and what you want to have covered. So at the end of the session, please do fill in the feedback form and feel free to be critical and ask for more. Okay. It's a video conference. I don't know how many questions will be raised, but you can always make use of the raise your hand button, or you can type a question into the chat box. And if you're having any problems typing your questions or whatever, below here is Renette, who's one of the co-moderators or co-hosts. Here's a phone number. It's a South African phone number, so you have to precede it with +27. Or you can quickly shoot an email to this events@noviaone.com. Okay. The agenda, we're going to try and cover everything in 45 minutes and leave you about 15 minutes to ask specific questions. And we're going to try and follow a sort of a narrative through this massive topic. And we're going to start with the overview and then go into some very high-level strategic considerations. The meat of this conversation is really around organizational positioning and organizational change management. It is a technology topic, but really it's around organizational behavior and people, and Paul will elaborate on that. And then how to set up the project management and how to deal with the data and IT infrastructure. And then, of course, the key interesting thing is around funding costs. Just by way of interest, the word robotics or robot comes from the Czech word slave, which is quite ominous actually, and was coined by a Czech playwright called Karel Čapek. And he published his play and put it on production back in 1920. So this year is exactly 100 years since the concept of robots. And I've posted 2 links here. You can either see the play on YouTube, or you can download the book for free, and you will get a copy of this presentation hereafter. Okay, so now over to our presenter. He presents and he facilitates courses for us as well. He's a seasoned executive, and he's got skin in the game, and he's done this many times around not only developing strategy but implementing it and making it happen and transforming organizations. So he will speak from experience, and he's got close to 2 decades worth of technology experience. And I'm going to now hand over to Paul, and then please, explain explain to the audience why, if you are an accountant, how on earth did you end up being an agent for transformation and technology? And how did you get into robotics?
Well, thank you for the introduction, Ty, and good afternoon to everyone. I'm pleased to be giving this call today and talking to you about this. So, first, I actually, before I was an accountant, I was an economist, and I happened to work for Standard Bank for 2 weeks before I decided to resign. And then I thought, well, let me go back and rather not be an economist and be an accountant. I can't say that I enjoyed accounting, although, and I don't want to sound too arrogant with this statement, but I did the job well enough to get promoted. And I landed up being, after many years, the FD of Michelle Herbelin, and then landed up being the CFO of Novia. And it was during those times that, you know, I can speak to a lot of accountants out there who are working 16, 17-hour days. And I just landed up being incredibly overweight and almost a near-death experience. It was just, I was working all the time. I was dealing with bad processes, bad technology. I wouldn't say bad people. People are a consequence of, you know, of the environment, and it just landed up being terrible. So I had to do something. I had to do a massive change, and it involved body, mind, and soul. I kind of got into the transformation game while I was at Sage. Yes, it's a PLC listed business. It's a technology business. All we do is technology. But I had to do something different, and I had to do something fast. I mean, everyone that we spoke to, you know, the entire world is doing ERP changes and business process changes and whatnot. And so I started getting heavily into technology and decided that what I'd done at Sage, I wanted to do it Anglo-American, for want of a better word, harassing Anglo-American, and eventually got in there, and then into Telkom, BCX, and eventually into our national airline, which is, I suppose, on top of everyone's radar. And that's essentially where I've been. So it's just been really walking into these businesses and really, by way of technology and process, making a better life for all the people in that organization. And that's not just the people in the corner office. It's the people right down at the coalface.
So Paul, you've been in the trenches. Huh? You've fought battles here, I can see. Some easy, some successful, some maybe not so successful. Tell me, or tell us, please, why robotics and AI? I mean, there's so many technologies out there. I think yesterday you said the technology has been around for over 10 years. So why would an organization actually choose to do this? What are the drivers? And maybe also, when would you not do it?
So again, these are my thoughts. You would never not do it. And a lot of organizations are just doing that. I mean, I had a call yesterday with the chief financial officer of a business that does north of 7 billion turnover a year. And, you know, nothing against the guy, but the reality is that he says he doesn't need it. And I was speechless, because I sat there and I thought, well, you know, if you look at why you want to do this, it's because of speed of execution. I mean, if you're looking at the paradigm in terms of cost, quality, and time, and you're also looking at business disruption, speed of execution, and cost, it's a no-brainer. Anyone who's not doing it will be left behind. Robotics works. AI, it works. The level to which it works, yes, that's a journey. But on the simple stuff, there's no reason not to do it, and to do it at scale.
Tell me, are there sizes of companies or types of companies where it might be inappropriate? Or are you saying that all companies should equally go for robotics and AI?
Not all companies. You know, if you're looking at the business case for robotics and AI, it only starts making business sense on a high volume of use case. And when I say a use case, that is a particular case for automation. So if you're, you know, and this is where a lot of the guys are getting confused. If you're running a small outfit and you want you might have a process in your business that makes business sense in order for you to get, let's talk a piece of software that's a robot, and it costs you, I don't know, maybe south of 150,000 Rand a year, and maybe there's some consulting fee in that, fine. If it makes business sense for you to have one robot on site, it might do. But where it starts making real business sense is where you've got lots of subsidiaries, lots of businesses, and those businesses are essentially hemorrhaging at the P&L, because of the size of the business, the number of people involved in that business, and the technologies that are at play in that business. And please, when I say that because of the people involved in that business, I don't necessarily mean you need to replace them with robots. But the reality is that it's high process counts, and where you can get alignment on those processes pretty quickly in order to orchestrate the digital technology or robotic software or AI technology or machine learning technology around that.
We got a question yesterday from one of our clients, from a renowned financial services institution. The name escapes me right now, and they said that either they or one of the competitors put in a great expense, but they had to pull it. And the question was, are there situations where processes, when there's a high level of interaction with customers and human interaction, where this is then inappropriate, or where there are limitations?
Sure. So I'd like to take a step back. I mean, a piece of AI that's going to really start mimicking human emotion and a very complicated piece of software. We're in terms of human progression, we're progressing all the time. But as of today, what I found that really works in a business, and I'm by no means the latest guru on neural networks and what needs to be done in terms of all the sexy kind of AI that's coming through. It can work. I mean, but what really, in order to get critical mass today, would be to look at more the simple stuff. And I can only imagine that maybe this financial services concern implemented some piece of technology that they were sold by a vendor, promised the world, and it didn't work. Well, the reality is that a lot of the time, if you really want to get critical mass in a business quickly, is to kind of focus on the mile wide, inch deep stuff first, the simple stuff, the stuff that really you can put together fairly quickly. It's a simple process, and you can get economies of scale by going to bucket or consolidate a whole lot of other simple processes along with that process. The minute you start getting quite involved in terms of trying to mimic human emotions and activities and maybe buying and selling decisions and those kind of things, it could get quite complicated. Even saying that, a piece of robotics or a piece of AI, when that particular application is coded, that robot, in essence, will never fail because it'll only do what you tell it to do. And the issue behind that piece of software is really the human that told it to do that. And whereas humans were imperfect, so the more complicated something becomes, the more chance we have of it messing up. So if we keep it simple, we have less chance of it messing up, and we've got a good chance of that impact being quite sizable in terms of its effect to the entire organization. So yes, for that particular individual, it might have cost a lot of money, absolutely. It might have been too complex for what was happening, or in terms of the actual, in terms of provisioning that software, it might have been the incorrect software. We don't know, but my sort of output to this is try to keep it simple, and the simpler it is, the better it is. And if you've got lots of simple, you're really going to change your environment quickly.